Get the upper hand on your competition with SCUF controllers. Use code OGXRAYZ to get 5% off your entire order. Yo guys, what's up? It's XRAYZ. Welcome back to another Black Ops 4 Zombies video. So today we actually got some pretty big news, and someone by the name of Odysseus Work actually was the first one to find this, I believe. But the radio messages that are found on Blood of the Dead, and for you guys that maybe have found, there's about 5 of them located around the map. And it was essentially the warden talking to someone that he referred to as Lord. Then he would pause to get an answer from someone. We never really heard it. All we heard was his perspective and his conversation. And so because of that, we kind of were like, well, this is interesting. Something's going on. Someone was plotting something here. But we didn't really know who it was. Some people were speculating that it was the Shadow Man. And it turns out that it was in fact the Shadow Man. And not only did he plan out some crazy stuff, but he's actually planning on using Primus to defeat Dr. Monty, which is actually pretty insane. So there was 5 radio messages. 3 of them, I believe, are the ones that actually have a reply now and audio from the Shadow Man. And so the only way you're able to listen to these is if you complete the Blood of the Dead main Easter egg. So after you have completed that main Easter egg, the next time you go into the map, or essentially the next time you jump into the map, you're going to be able to listen to these 3 different radio messages. They're the same location, same audio, only now you'll be able to hear the perspective or the voice of the Shadow Man. So it's not just going to be a one-way conversation, it'll be the actual full conversation that gives a ton of context. And it's very, very interesting because essentially it is the Shadow Man telling the warden what to do. So he mentions obviously the crew from Mob of the Dead, but he also mentions that the Primus crew is on their way to Alcatraz, and he mentions that he has plans for them, and he even mentions the fact that Richtofen is going to be the one, that his blood is important and that they need to harvest his blood. And then not only that, but towards the end of that conversation, he mentions that Richtofen needs to suffer. And it's exactly what we see at the end of the Easter egg, after Richtofen willingly puts himself into that blood extraction machine or whatever it was called, and it pumps out all of his blood, essentially killing him. Now the thing about that dimension was, I think, that you don't really stay dead, you stay alive, so it looks like it's going to be a long, just super agonizing like death essentially, or maybe not death for Richtofen, but it plays perfectly into what the Shadow Man was saying in that radio message, where he was saying that Richtofen not only had to have his blood extracted, but he also needed to suffer. And that's exactly what he did, both mentally after everyone had left him behind essentially to die, and then also physically. I mean, the dude's getting his blood get drained out of his body, so it's painful mentally and physically. So it really was an excruciating situation here for Richtofen. But on top of all of that, he mentions that the whole point of all this is because he was trapped, and it doesn't go on to mention how he was trapped, who trapped him, but I think what he meant to say, or at least what we can read into this, is that he is trapped in this endless loop. And the whole conversation of, or the whole point of the storyline for Blood of the Dead was that the crew needed to break that cycle. The endless cycle that they got, where they would start off as Primus, it would go all the way through all of the maps, Origins, through Black Ops 2, through Black Ops 3, all the way to the point of Revelations. And once they got to Revelations, they clearly always had the same idea: grab the blood, take the blood, you're gonna survive the reality. But then Richtofen and the rest of the crew would be shot right back to Primus by Dr. Monty. So not only was that crew, Primus stuck in that endless loop and that endless storyline, but we also had the Shadow Man, who was also a byproduct of this loop, who was also a victim of this loop. Not only did we have the crew who was suffering through this loop, but so was the Shadow Man. He was also causing havoc and craziness, and every single time, by the time it got to the end of the loop of Revelations, he would be defeated, and who knows what would happen to him at that point. It would essentially disappear, but then the loop, like I was saying, would restart and everything would continue. And so it looks like the Shadow Man not only was trying to help the crew break this cycle of this loop, and might be a victory for them, and we might see that as a victory too, like, damn, okay, they've broken the loop, they're free. But this also looks like it will free the Shadow Man and essentially be able to defeat Dr. Monty. So we also heard that in the ending cutscene for Blood of the Dead, where they said we're going to need it if we're going to defeat Dr. Monty, to which Nikolai says who, because they don't know who that is just yet, but Richtofen clearly knows who that is. Or a crazy theory that people have been saying is that the Richtofen that we saw at the end of that cutscene is actually the Shadow Man in disguise, and he's going to go with them. So that also is a pretty crazy theory. But like I was saying, I think that when he mentions in the audio that he is trapped, he's essentially talking about he's trapped in this loop. He needs the Primus crew to show up. He needs Richtofen's blood. Why not make him suffer while we're at it, and then use that blood to break the loop? And not only is the Primus crew free, but now also the Shadow Man is free of that loop, and now maybe possibly he has the opportunity to defeat Dr. Monty. And we'll see, because I think there's also like insinuations going on that maybe the Shadow Man and Monty used to be one person and they broke up into two different things. I think there was like a quote mentioning that Dr. Monty was like, you know that if you cut a worm in half, it like turns into two different worms. And then he mentions that the Shadow Man used to be like his best friend or whatever. And so I think people are also piecing together and saying, yo, maybe they used to be one being, because they are kind of similar to older gentlemen with a beard, even like the shape that the Shadow Man takes. So we'll see about that, but this is crazy audio that we got that explains a ton about not only Blood of the Dead and the storyline, but also why they were sent there, how the loop was actually essentially broken, which was the Shadow Man's doing, and then also what the Mob of the Dead crew did. They were also kind of stuck in that loop, and I think it was because of them and their situation and their loop that this Primus crew ended up showing up here. So it was all kind of planned out way beforehand, so it's actually pretty crazy. So I'm gonna go ahead and play the audio now, and again, you can only listen to this audio if you do complete the Easter egg here for Blood of the Dead. Luckily, we were able to get this information for you guys, and you don't have to complete it because you can listen to all of it right here in this video. So thank you guys so much for watching the video. If you guys did go on to enjoy the video and want to see even more Black Ops 4 Zombies, then make sure you guys do go on to drop a like on the video. It helps out a ton, shares it around. And if you are new, make sure you guys are subscribed and have those notifications on so you don't miss a single upload from me. I'm going to be doing a ton more storyline information stuff. I do have to do the next storyline part. I also do have Behind the Horror coming out for 9, Voyage of Despair, Blood of the Dead, and then Classified I still need to get a season pass so that I can play that map and get an idea of what's up with that one. But I have all that stuff in the works, so make sure you guys are subbed up for all of that. Check out the playlist if you guys don't know what that is and you're new to the channel. It's just fun stuff, so make sure you guys are subbed up with notifications. And if you guys do want to support the channel directly, you guys can do so by checking out my channel memberships. You get access to early content, exclusive videos, and special badges that show up in all my live streams and in the comment sections of all my videos. So check that out only if you are willing and able to. Thank you guys so much for watching. You guys have an awesome day. Take care. I'm out. Peace.
No! Contraption!
Hear me.
Yes, I can hear you. Apologies, my lord. I am here.
Calm, faithful warden, calm. I bring glad news. The world that you seek is near at hand.
Oh, thank you, my lord. Thank you. I've done my best to prepare the way. Please, where are you now?
Hidden. Trapped. Waiting.
I see. Tell me what I must do.
4 souls in your possession, 4 arriving soon. With the first, you will transform the island. Salvatore DeLuca, Finn O'Leary, Billy Handsome, Al Arlington.
Salvatore, Finn, Billy, Al. Yes, my lord, I know these names.
Their sins shall be their undoing. Their eternal punishment through your sacrifice will ensnare another. His ultimate reckoning.
A trap for another. Forgive my ignorance, Lord, but how will I know what to do?
Sir, it's me, Stanley. We have a situation.
Damn the situation, Ferguson. You handle it. I am not to be disturbed.
Wait. Listen.
I'm real sorry to interrupt your prayers, sir, but there's been a murder up on the roof. It's Al Arlington.
Arlington?
Yes, sir. Part of some kind of botched escape attempt. We got Sal DeLuca and his 2 cronies in custody. Looks like it was them.
I'll be right there.
I'll be right there. My lord, I entreat thee to speak. I have done as you asked. The remaining 3 of the first 4 shall die by electric chair this evening, and soon after I shall join them. It will be glorious in this new realm, Lord, I have no doubt, but But I confess, I am afraid. This form is weak and has taken to drink, but I do cling to it still. Please, grant me the strength to...
Grant you the strength? Oh, you poor, pathetic wretch. I will grant you nothing until your death. You know this.
Yes, my lord, of course. My life is part of the disease, and the disease must be purged. I rejoice that that day has come.
But you are a base, disgusting creature that cannot help fearing for its own skin. It is not your fault.
Thank you for saying so, my lord. Truth be told, I long for the miracle that will release me.
That's a good lad. You have been an adequate servant. Therefore, you will continue to serve after the corruption.
Such an honor for me.
Not an honor. A purpose. Your life's sentence. Waiting for Dr. Edward Richtofen to walk into the trap.
The Doctor. I've heard mention of him amongst the Illuminati. What would you have of him?
His blood holds great power. You will harness it all and open the way to the paradise below.
I swear, my lord, it will be done.
And one more thing.
Name it, my lord.
Spare him no pain.
Yes, Richtofen shall suffer. The time has come. The sponge is wet on my crown. The cap screws tightened. The switch in my hand. Oh, I'm going to burn. Oh, the fools. They want justice for the toll I've extracted from this forsaken island.
Sir, there's some men from the Bureau here. I stalled them as long as I could, but they're on their way to your office now. What do you want me to tell them?
Justice? Ah, there is no such thing. There's only the will of the Dark One.
Okay. I'll just tell them you're not feeling so well then, yeah?
Do as you wish. Run, hide, beg for absolution, and perhaps he will be merciful, as he has been with me.
Shh. Do not weep, my dear Warden.
My lord, you're here.
Of course, more or less. The threshold awaits, my friend.
Yes. Yes, the threshold. One last flash of light, and the sun shall vanish into the sea.
And the darkness?
The darkness shall spread. Through every fiber of creation it shall spread.
Listen, I told you, he ain't here. Went to see some special doc on the mainland.
So let me see.
You guys are wasting your time.
Richtofen copied entire
I
plans
shall
from
be
special
its
book.
instrument.
Special book changed.
Come
its
on,
line.
guys, cut me a break.
Now it wants what?
I shall
Our
bleed
blood?
the chosen few.
Better hurry.
The gateway will open, and paradise will fall. Ah!
Yeah. See there? What'd I tell you? Nobody's home. Nothing here.